Well, if you saw my first video on episode 8 the other day, I got a few things wrong. And one that was pretty important. But with a show and story like this, I was bound to make a mistake or two. I appreciate the viewers who talk to me in the comments about it. Most people on the internet are usually pretty mean, but not you guys. Y'all have been super helpful with this series, and like I said, I wanted to work on this together anyway. So I think I got everything in order now, but again, always feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. So first, I did not realize that the message Ye initially received was from a singular rogue Santi. Because of the way the Sophon talked to Mike over the intercom, I kinda got the impression that the entire species was like a hive mind. So I kinda saw them as one entity. But that was not true. And now when I look back at episode 2 and on, I honestly cannot believe that I missed it. The Sophon figure, this girl, and then the voice that Mike talked to, is like an AI that they programmed to speak to humans because obviously the Santi aren't sitting there speaking English to each other. So while I'm sure the majority of them share the same beliefs, hence why they are invading, this Santi who first received Ye's message is simply an individual pacifist in the Santi world. They wanted to give Ye a chance because they knew if the rest of their civilization heard this message, they would invade. And now the parallel of Ye and this rogue Santi is even cooler. Both are traitors to their people, but for different reasons. Alright, so now that that is cleared up, it's time to talk about the don't play with God joke from last episode. At first, the joke felt very straightforward. Just like Einstein was playing his music and was heard by God, Ye and the world governments were sending their signal and it was heard by the Santi. And the point of the joke is that you should never play or mess with a divine / more powerful being, or there will be repercussions. And also, as humans, you aren't meant to be or are powerful enough to play with God, even if you think it will be great. But after some thinking and some research, I realized there's a lot more to this joke. Ye decided she was going to try and stop the Santi in some way, but since they can see and hear everything, they would know her plan. She was even reading up on strategy and alien books right before she called Saul. But in order to relay her message, she had to do it in a form of a joke, something that the Santi don't understand. But what is her message exactly? Well, there are multiple theories, but after some research, it seems like if there were a season 2, based on the second novel Dark Forest, the meaning of this joke will be revealed later. But what we can confirm is that hidden within this joke is some sort of hint, strategy, or plan that Saul can use to stop the Santi, hence the events in episode 8. She is most likely just telling him this method without telling him this method. To communicate ideas to others without the Santi being aware, he has to do it in metaphor form. They interpret things that are not direct and true thought or communication as lies, and they cannot lie. So by Earth discussing their ideas on how to stop the Santi as a joke, they can plan undetected. Humor is a very personal thing to us. And if he gets this, he should have no problem coming up with a plan with the help of other people. But is she trying to give him an answer on how to stop the Santi as well? This creator, Giant Frickin' Robot, made an excellent video discussing the joke and how it pertains to the story. Link in description for their full explanation. But since I haven't read the books, I'm going to consider this a theory on what the joke could also be telling us, and not as a pure fact, even though personally I really like it. So basically, the reason we haven't made any contact or found proof of aliens is it's too risky to come in contact with another civilization. It could very well lead to our destruction. So in order for a civilization to not destruct, the most logical thing to do would be to take out any alien civilization they come in contact with. And if one group finds this out or more, this would make the universe a dark forest where every civilization is keeping quiet, in fear of the more powerful ones going around and eliminating everybody in their path. Which is some more colonialism symbolization, but that's for later. So Ye was trying to tell Saul that any alien civilization in space, especially one that's planning on conquering, is in danger of being taken out if their location is revealed. Or in other words, they are heard. If Earth sends a message to space about the Santi, pretty much giving away their location and their plan, another alien civilization could hear it and come take them out. We pretty much snitch on the Santi to the rest of the universe and hope someone receives our message and takes care of them for us. Another theory I've seen is based on the fact that the joke is about Einstein of all people. The answer could relate to his ideas according to the theory of relativity, the string theory, and gravitational waves. Maybe the way to stop them is already there in our current science. But the Santi clearly realized there was something going on in this conversation because they sent Tatiana to kill Ye right after. Yeah, as predicted, she did still die. So I'm assuming they were like, yo, what the f is she talking about? This has to be a plan about stopping us. Or maybe they just thought it was a really bad joke. But now they are on the hunt to kill Saul, bringing us to the season finale, episode 8, Wallfacer. What seems like a freak accident that kills Saul's one-night stand was actually a targeted attack. The 3 cars involved in the crash were all self-driving that were hacked into right before they were heading straight for him. Great, so now the Santi are taking over Teslas and shooting them like bullets. I mean, the implications of this are absolutely terrifying. Clarence brings in Saul to warn him about this, but also to question why he was the last person Ye talked to before she died. So Clarence is now in charge of Saul's security, giving him a bulletproof outfit. But why no helmet? I feel like that's the most vulnerable spot, but hey, at least we are getting a new dynamic duo. Saul is then instructed to go to America for this ceremony that he knows nothing about. But remember that plan Wade was coming up with? Yeah, so he realized what Ye realized. The only thing that the Santi can't spy on is our thoughts. Hence the emphasis on our brains last episode. They can hear what we say, see what we do, but they can't read our minds. The world's new plan is called the Wallfacer Project, where 3 of the top minds are instructed to come up with a strategy to save humanity, completely and only in their own head until it's the right time to execute. They get whatever resources they want, can command anyone to do anything for them, and everyone is supposed to just trust them. So first we got this general who has written some of the most highly regarded books on military history, and is an expert on winning and peacefully resolving conflicts. Next is a professor who helped fight ISIS and has exceptional experience in fighting and winning asymmetrical battles, or a battle where one side has an advantage. And then, as you probably guessed, our boy Saul. These are the 3 most important people in the world right now. Saul pointing out that he is not on the same level as the other 2 people and also not wanting this responsibility, rejects his position as a wallfacer and goes to leave. But the second he walks out, he is shot. Luckily it wasn't in the head. He really wants to meet the guy who shot him to ask why, but he already knew the answer deep down. This guy, who was contacted by the Santi, was instructed to murder Saul due to him being a threat. A soldier in the army of the Lord, or in other words, a Santi cult assassin. Saul was chosen because the Santi want him dead, and I'm assuming his meeting with Ye is also a big reason. But watching him say, "I'm not a wallfacer," and everyone say, "Yeah, sure, okay," like he is trying to be sneaky and trick the Santi, is just so funny. This man does not want this job. But maybe it's best if he does just lie and say he isn't a wallfacer, because how would they know? But later in the episode, when he talks with Jin, we see that part of him does believe in the importance of the position, as he stops himself from revealing why he thinks he was chosen, his convo with Ye. You gotta keep that to yourself now, man. We end the episode with Tatiana getting a headset sent to her, with the message, "If one of us survives, we all survive," a mantra that we've seen threaded throughout this entire season. The Staircase Project ultimately was a failure, and now Will is just floating through space with no true destination, I guess? And we see Augie is fulfilling her dream of providing clean water to the less fortunate communities with her nanofibers. Good for her. Wade gets a visit from the Sophon, and it's pretty terrifying. They say he's a strong leader and they hope to meet him if the hibernation technology works, and they even say they will have a spot for him when they arrive. He is a part of their plan. The Sophon then appears in front of him, threatening him with a countdown and a vision of his future self with his eyeballs cut out. They assure him that they will always be there, in every room he enters, always watching, until the day that he dies. Clarence tries to reassure a depressed Saul and Jin that they only lost one battle. There is still an entire war to fight. And as history shows, things like this never go right the first try. What's the saying? You gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet? He takes them out to this marsh full of bugs and points out that as much as we've tried to get rid of them, pesticides, poison, swatting and smashing them, they are still around and aren't going anywhere. It made me so hyped for the next season. I mean, I would run through a wall for Clarence. The team still has more work to do, and is more motivated than ever. Alright, so that was season 1 of 3 Body Problem. Again, just wow. But let's discuss this crazy ending. So, the headset that Tatiana received. This must mean there are still cult members out there that have the technology that Mike had, because the Santi themselves can't send this on Earth. It couldn't have been anyone on the ship, for obvious reasons. So maybe someone else made it out of the raid? I can't imagine the governments would release anyone they arrested from the raid without constantly spying on them. So does this mean there are other factions of the cult out there? Could the Santi have been talking to someone else too? Who sent her this headset? And what could she be seeing on it? I assume it's gotta be the Santi directly communicating with her and telling her their plan on how to help them before they get here, and or what they are going to do when they get here. But again, who sent this? Just like the Santi see the value, or rather the threat, in Saul, they see it in Wade too, because now they're trying to recruit him by threatening him into being part of their plan. So I wonder if Wade is actually going to freeze himself until they get here now, because it's almost like they want him to do it. Maybe they're trying to get him to do it because it will work in their favor. Maybe he has to be here now in order to stop them. Him and Saul could cook up a great plan together, that's all I'm saying. But I kinda like the idea of a time jump where we see him in the future when they get here. And speaking of Wade, what did he whisper to Jin after the staircase mission failed? Could it have been anything important, or was it just some words of encouragement? Now that we've seen the Santi take over self-driving cars, it feels like they haven't shown us the full extent of their, I won't say powers, but because we know what they can do, but this just means they can kill us at any second. Do you guys know that one episode of Futurama where all the machines are programmed to kill humans? The toasters, blenders, ceiling fans all start attacking people? What if they take over all technology on Earth and use them to wipe us out before they even get here? Well, I guess they probably can't take control of everything at once, but it just seems like they could be killing us rather than driving us crazy, you know? And lastly, remember how Wade said they were using a base on the moon to build a fleet of spaceships in episode 6? Yeah, I forgot to mention that. It seems like they're gonna go full Star Wars on us and attack them before they even get here. And maybe the Sophon can't spy on the moon too, just on Earth. We will have to see in season 2 though, but I am just so excited. We got Saul the Wallfacer who needs to decode Ye's message, Wade's space mission. I'm sure they're gonna do another staircase project of sorts, as the next 400 years will be spent advancing technology and science. Does Will have any more to his story out in space, or was that it? Maybe he gets picked up by someone else? There's just so many questions left to be answered. If I'm being honest, it kinda sucks that there are already 2 other books with all of these answers, because by the time season 2 is even announced, I'm sure all of my theories and others will be completely demolished by the book readers. And nothing against you guys, but it's kinda nice when the series is left up to interpretation until the next installment, because the ending of season 1 has me too excited, so I'm sure I'll crumble and look up what happens next too. But again, my videos are just about the series. So next one we'll be going over the messages in the show, like climate change, communism, colonialism, and all of that. And then I want to do one about season 2 theories and where the show can go from here. I want to rewatch the first season and give it about a week to fully digest everything and come to a stronger conclusion, along with help from all of you guys in the comments. So I guess my question is, do you want me to research the book and get more definitive answers that would in turn spoil the rest? I mean, I could just go off the first book and make sure it only relates up until this last scene at the marsh, but as some of you guys have mentioned, book readers' knowledge, while more extensive, does spoil the show for the non-readers. So let me know in the comments what you guys want. I'm gonna go back to the drawing board, and this is not the last of this show on this channel. We still got a lot more to go. But with all that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon.